The scratching started on my third night in the cabin, claw-like, rhythmic, dragging across the wooden floorboards beneath my bed. I'd bought this old forester's house deep in the Black Forest because it was cheap, too cheap. The realtor mentioned, almost as an afterthought, that the previous owners called it blessed. They said a Heinzelmännchen lived in the walls, a tiny, kind house gnome from German folklore who cleans your home while you sleep, asking nothing but a bowl of milk left by the hearth. I laughed it off. I left the milk anyway, just for fun. The next morning, the bowl was empty, and so was my woodpile. Every log, stacked perfectly outside my door. I should have been grateful. Instead, I felt watched. I started researching. The Heinzelmännchen legend traces back centuries house spirits, who reward kindness with helpful chores, but who curse those who insult them or spy on their true form. Older, darker texts from the region spoke of something else. Kobolds, who predate the friendly house gnome myth, mine spirits and forest dwellers, from Germanic and Norse tradition. Tricksters who could turn malevolent, demanding tribute in blood rather than milk if a household failed to honor them. Local elders in the nearby village whispered of something darker still, that this particular forest once hosted a secret coven. Women who practiced old rites among the pines, who tamed a kobold centuries ago and bound it to serve a household forever on one condition. The family must never leave, never break the pact, never let the fire die. I dismissed it as superstition, but the scratching grew louder, and the milk bowl began draining faster than any gnome could drink. I found the cellar door hidden beneath an old rug, painted with a faded sigil, a circle, a crescent moon, runes scratched in by hand. Behind it, candle stubs, dried herbs, and a journal, leather-bound, brittle with age. It belonged to a woman named Greta, dated nearly 200 years prior. She wrote of the coven 7 witches of the forest, said to commune with the old spirits that lived beneath root and stone. They had captured a kobold during a ritual gone wrong, binding it to this very house to protect the land from loggers who threatened to clear the ancient trees. The kobold obeyed, but resentfully. Greta wrote that it began as helpful chores, swept floors, mended fences, guarded livestock. But as decades passed and the witches who bound it died one by one, the spirit grew hungrier, lonelier, angrier. It no longer wanted milk. The final entry, written in shaking handwriting, said, "It does not want offerings anymore. It wants to be remembered. It wants company. And if we leave, it will make sure no one ever leaves again." That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the hearth with every candle lit, journal in my lap, waiting. At midnight, the scratching stopped. Silence worse than any noise. Then, from the shadows by the cellar door, 2 amber eyes opened, low to the ground, glinting like embers. The kobold stepped into the candlelight, small, gnarled, ancient, its skin like bark, and its eyes ancient with sorrow rather than malice. It didn't attack. It knelt. In a voice like wind through dead branches, it spoke a single word: stay. I realized, with a chill colder than the forest outside, that this wasn't a monster hunting prey. It was a guardian, abandoned for 2 centuries, terrified of being alone again. The curse wasn't violence, it was loneliness, so old it had curdled into desperation. I understood then why every previous owner left within a month. Not because the kobold hurt them, because it begged them to stay, every single night, in a voice that broke something human inside you to hear. I'm still here. I don't know if that makes me brave or foolish. Every night, I leave the milk. Every morning, the woodpile is stacked. And every night, just before I fall asleep, I hear a small voice from the shadows whisper, "Thank you for staying." If you ever find an old forest cabin too cheap to be real, ask why. Subscribe. Because next week, I'm going back into that cellar to find out what happened to the other 6 witches of Greta's coven and why only her journal survived. Ring the bell. The forest is still listening.